Jason Adeyemi was a man once full of hope. A passionate botanist with dreams as vibrant as the flowers he loved. Living in Oyo, he had been in a long-term relationship with Lucy, a captivating but fiercely ambitious woman. Lucy was a successful entrepreneur who believed that emotions were a weakness. Their relationship, while passionate in its early days, turned toxic over time. Lucy's sharp tongue and manipulative tendencies gradually chipped away at Jason's self-esteem. She belittled his profession, mocking his obsession with plants as a childish pursuit. "You spend your days with flowers while real men build empires," she once sneered during an argument. Jason, ever the peacekeeper, tried to appease her, even at the cost of his own happiness. Their breaking point came when Lucy secretly sold a rare collection of orchids Jason had nurtured for years. The orchids were meant for a university research project, but Lucy sold them to a luxury client for personal gain. Furious and heartbroken, Jason confronted her, only for Lucy to dismiss his feelings as trivial. "You're wasting your potential, Jason. Imagine what we could have if you stopped burying yourself in this childish nonsense. You call my work nonsense? Those orchids are part of a research project. They mean more than just money, Lucy," Jason said in his usual calm and firm tone. Lucy began to laugh bitterly. "Research? How's that going to pay our bills? I sold them to someone who appreciates value." Jason froze, disbelief washing over him. "I spent years cultivating those orchids. You sold them without telling me," he said quietly. "I did what you couldn't, make a real decision," Lucy said, shrugging. "You crossed the line," Jason said, this time his anger rising. "I can't do this anymore, Lucy. Thank me later when you stop living in this fantasy world." Lucy clapped back. That night, Jason, knowing he couldn't take it anymore, ended his relationship with Lucy, packed his bags the following week and left. He moved to Lagos State, hoping to rebuild his life and find solace in the one thing that had never betrayed him, nature. In Lagos, Jason searched for a job close to 1 year in his field but found none, until luck shone on him one day. He found a job as a consultant for a high-profile project, a botanical garden for a luxury resort. The resort was owned by Chief Akin, a wealthy businessman who wanted to create a serene escape for Nigeria's elite. The project promised to be Jason's redemption, a chance to channel his pain into creating something beautiful. On his first day at the site, Jason met Adana Okoro, the project manager. Adana was everything Lucy wasn't. Warm, passionate, and unyieldingly determined. She had a reputation for being strict but fair, and her team admired her work ethic. Their first meeting, however, was far from friendly. "You're late," Adana said, her tone brisk as she glanced at her watch. "I'm not late," Jason replied calmly. "You're just early." Their exchanges were filled with subtle jabs and misunderstandings, each trying to assert control. But beneath the tension, there was an undeniable instant chemistry neither could ignore. As the weeks went by, Jason and Adana began working closely on the project. Jason's expertise and Adana's organizational skills proved to be a perfect match. Slowly, their professional relationship evolved into a tentative friendship. One evening, as they surveyed the garden, Adana noticed a scar on Jason's hand. "What happened?" she asked softly. Jason hesitated before answering. "It's a reminder of what happens when you trust the wrong people." He opened up about Lucy and the emotional scars she left behind. Adana listened intently, her heart aching for the man who had endured so much. She shared her own struggles, how she had fought to prove herself in a male-dominated industry, often at the cost of her personal life. Their bond deepened, and with it came moments of vulnerability. One night, during a storm that threatened to destroy weeks of work, they stayed up together, protecting the plants. Amid the chaos, Jason looked at Adana and saw not just a colleague but a kindred spirit. Just as their relationship began to blossom, Jason received a prestigious offer to design a botanical garden for an international project in Dubai. The opportunity was a dream come true, but it meant leaving Adana and the project behind. Meanwhile, Adana's past resurfaced in the form of her ex-fiancé, Uche, a charming but unreliable man who had walked out on her years ago. Uche, now determined to win her back, began showing up unannounced, causing friction between her and Jason. One day, Jason and Adana were together in Adana's apartment when Uche decided to show up unannounced. Uche knocked and Adana went to get the door. "You look even more beautiful than I remember, Adana," Uche said, waving the rose flower he had gotten to give to Adana. "What are you doing here, Uche?" Adana said in a cold tone. "I made a mistake leaving you. I've changed. Let me prove it to you." Adana struggled to hide her anger and confusion. Meanwhile, Jason saw Uche at the door, but decided to sit back on the couch waiting to confront Adana. She dismissed Uche, told him never to come back and banged the door behind her. "So, this is why you've been distant, you're giving him another chance?" Jason asked, his voice shaky. "It's not like that, he just showed up, I didn't ask for this," Adana replied defensively. "Maybe I was wrong to think we could be something. I should have known better." He walked away, leaving Adana torn between explaining herself and letting him go. The tension came to a head during a gala event to showcase the partially completed garden. Jason, torn between his career and his feelings for Adana, decided to give a heartfelt speech. He stood on the stage, speaking to the audience, in his final words. "This garden is more than just plants and flowers," he said, focusing on Adana, his voice steady but emotional. "This garden is a testament to growth, resilience, and the courage to start over. It isn't just about plants or beauty. It's about second chances, and sometimes, if you're lucky, you find someone who makes you believe in blooming again." Adana realized that Jason wasn't just talking about the garden, he was talking about them. Tears formed in her eyes. As the crowd applauds, while Jason leaves the stage. The next day, Jason found Adana waiting for him in the garden. "I don't want you to leave," she said. "And I don't want to go," Jason replied. They exchanged a deep hug, reaffirming their love for each other. Jason and Adana decided to face their fears together, knowing that love, like a garden, required patience, care, and trust. The garden finally became a complete project, a breathtaking masterpiece that became a pride of the resort, vibrant with life and color. At its center, under a canopy of blooming flowers, Jason and Adana exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony attended by their closest friends and family. Months later, they began preparations to leave for Dubai. Jason for his new project, and Adana to manage their joint consultancy. One evening, they took a stroll to the garden and stood at the middle one last time. This was where it all began, Adana said, smiling up at him. Jason nodded, pulling her close, and whispered, "And this is just the beginning." Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this story? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this story and share it with friends. Also, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. We have more interesting stories to share. Thank you for watching.